OrangeSky is a not-for-profit organisation providing a free mobile laundry and shower service for people experiencing homelessness, hardship, and isolation. Every week, more than 3,000 volunteers come together to provide a safe, genuine, and non-judgmental space for people who are too often ignored or feel disconnected from the community. Today's guests include Shayne Herriott, OrangeSky's Chief Operating Officer, and Emma Anderson, the Regional Coordinator. Shayne, I'm going to start directly with you. Tell us about the origins of OrangeSky.
Yeah, so OrangeSky started almost 10 years ago. So it's our 10th birthday in October this year. And it was started by two best friends straight out of high school, Nick and Lucas. So essentially, when they were at school here in Brisbane, they were volunteering at their local food van that the school ran. And it was from there that once they graduated, that they had this idea of going, well, hey, there's plenty of other services that are doing food and meals, but how are these people actually being able to get their clothes washed? So they had this big idea of going, let's try and put some washing machine and dryers in a van and let's drive to the different parks and create space where people can wash their clothes. Now, unfortunately, when they spoke to anybody who knew anything about washing machines, which these two 20-year-olds definitely did not, they pretty well said, hey, this is never going to work. So washing machine and dryers are not designed to work in a van, and nobody's going to wash their clothes in a park. So Nick and Lucas decided, hey, we're not going to listen to everyone's advice, so we're going to do it anyway. As you would expect from these young 20-year-olds, they decided they're going to give it a crack anyway. So after a few failed attempts, washing in one of the local parks with a friend called Jordan, wash machines blew up twice before they were able to get it work, but eventually on the third time, they were able to wash Jordan's clothes. And that's when they really realized the value of OrangeSky. It was once the clothes are in the washing machine, there's not much you can do for 30 minutes. The door's locked, the washing's on, you got to sit around and just have a chat. And then that's when they realized that what they were actually creating was a space to have this really meaningful conversation and connection with people who are so often overlooked. So since then, we've been able to grow OrangeSky. So we're operating all around Australia, in New Zealand, and also in remote Indigenous communities. So we operate over 300 different shifts every week, and we're in 40 different locations in Australia alone. 3,000 plus volunteers. So it's grown to an amazing organisation that's supported by these amazing volunteers who keep us operating.
Emma, I met you recently at the North Richmond Community Health Centre. Your van and volunteers were set up and in full action. Can you tell the listeners to our program this morning what it looks and sounds like? I know that Shayne's touched on a little bit, but can you unpack that a bit for us?
Yeah, it's great. It was great meeting you out there at North Richmond too. So like Shayne mentioned earlier, we do partner with a service provider that has different services. So with the North Richmond, the fact that they have GPs there, they do outreach as well, counselling. It's a great organisation to partner with. So we have our van, like you've seen. That was one of our hybrid vans that has both washing machines, dryers, and a shower in it, which is amazing. And always there's 6 orange chairs that we're able to set up in a semicircle so that our friends can come and have a chat with us while they're waiting for their washing to be done. That particular area in North Richmond is a lot of foot traffic there. It's situated between about 5 public housing towers. So we have a lot of friends sometimes just coming out to have a chat, sometimes using our service in that one. Throughout Melbourne, we do have 28 different shifts running each week. So that's one of the 28 shifts. And we always partner with a service provider or have some third parties there. So I know you had on your talk the other week, both One Voice and Mitcham Community Meals, and we set up there on a Sunday evening alongside them as well. So it's fantastic to be able to have this holistic approach that our friends can come and use more than one service at a time.
So Emma, just tell us about the conversations that must go on while they're waiting for the washing to be done.
Yeah, our conversations can range from chats about sports, books that we've been reading, things that we have in common. And it's great to be able to connect people in a way. We are all just humans, and we have a lot in common in different ways. So being able to just sit down for that half an hour, for that 45 minutes, while they're having the clothes go through the washing machine and the dryer, great to be able to connect in so many different ways. And our volunteers, they're not social workers or anything like that, but they are there to communicate with our friends and be able to just really show that we can all connect together, which is lovely.
Shayne, coming back to you, OrangeSky is an incredibly innovative organisation, has been rightfully recognised. Tell us about some of the innovations.
Yeah, so we won AFR's most innovative company, I think it was about 2 years ago, for the government and not-for-profit sector. So recognition of innovation has been core of everything that we do. And ultimately it stems back to that origin story that we talked about before, where it was going, hey, ultimately we had a new idea and we gave things a crack, and that's where it started. So, and we know that homelessness and hardship is changing. And then we've done some recent research which backs that up. So 3 in 5 people have said that they've had to make moderate to significant adjustments to their spending to be able to just to make ends meet, basically. So that's making significant changes in terms of their living situation or skipping meals. So 1 in 10 have actually said they've had to skip a meal just to be able to get ends meet. So we know homelessness and hardship is changing, so we need to change and keep up with it. So some of the innovations, so the Wari dryer was a big one. So basically we wanted to move away from diesel generators because they often failed, which then meant that we let the friends or the users of our service down. It was also creating emissions, which isn't the nicest space to operate in as well. So we wanted to move our fleet to be able to operate on solar panels. So to be able to do that, we basically had to customize a bespoke dryer so they could operate off solar panels. So that's called our Wari dryer. So it's a world's first sort of one of the most efficient dryers, we believe, out there. And it's got a little diesel afterburner, which helps it gets up to temperature, but it means that we can then operate on solar panels. We've also got a commercial laundromat operating in North Adelaide. So this for us was, how do we actually support a local community? And rather than having to rely on fundraising and supporters or government grants, we wanted to have like a commercial enterprise. So it works like your traditional laundromat or a coin-operated laundromat. However, we also use it to operate shifts out of to support the Adelaide community. And then some of the recent stuff is we know more and more families have been doing it tough recently, and different government departments are using sort of motel or this similar temporary accommodation to be able to put people in this transitional housing. And we haven't been able to support it with the vans just because of the sheer numbers of people. Because some of it, we've got some motels in Brisbane here with 100+ people living in motels. It could be a single mum with 4 young kids in a little motel room with no cooking or washing facilities. So we've had to innovate to create a new model where volunteers sort of turn up, take some of the washing away to a local laundromat, still say and have that meaningful conversation that we talked about, just to be able to support it. So I think it's just a nice reminder that homelessness and hardship is changing, and it's a lot closer than many people realize. And so that's why it's really important for us to keep innovating, keep trying to refine what we do to make sure that we can reach even more people than ever before.
Very exciting indeed. Emma, I want to come back to you and just unpack a bit more about the importance of the volunteers. And you did touch on this earlier about them not being social workers or experts on homelessness, but they're empathetic listeners and great conversationalists. How does this point of, I guess, the area of connection really support what services that you are providing?
Yeah, definitely. We have amazing volunteers with OrangeSky, over 3,000, like you mentioned, throughout Australia. But in Melbourne itself, we have about over 450 active volunteers. So yeah, like what you said, they're not social workers. We're not experts in homelessness, but they are just everyday Aussies that they're kind, they're empathetic. They can have conversations with everyone, which is amazing. Being able to, like Shayne had mentioned too, being able to connect and have that connection with other people is a huge part of what we do at OrangeSky. So on top of being able to help people out with their laundry needs, being able to sit down and have those chats with them, our friends can feel connected to someone, not so isolated, and really get surrounded by the community as well, which is really nice to see. And like I mentioned when we chatted before, having those 6 orange chairs there, our friends are sitting there with us. We're just all humans. It's really, really nice to see.
I'd imagine that going back to the same spot, like say Mitcham Community Meals, for instance, that
Yeah,
your volunteers would develop the relationships with folk and they would reconnect when they come back again.
definitely. Yeah. And some of our volunteers know all our friends by names, the regular ones that come in, week out. Often with our volunteers too, we do a lot of them will commit to a fortnightly roster, so they're there regularly as well. So not only can our volunteers connect with their friends, but vice versa. They know each other. They get to have that real sense of community, whether it's there to have a chat with the people that volunteers that are becoming friends to them, and helping them with that isolation, which is really nice.
Mm. So, Emma, as the regional coordinator, you do a fair bit of travel and you're responsible for areas across Australia. Well, what's driving you to do this personally? Why do you get up each day and go out there and work for Orange Sky?
I just love being able to help community, my own community in Melbourne, communities throughout Australia as well. Being able to really give back and see the joy that you can give to not only our volunteers, but our friends by being able to sit there and have those chats. I really love the fact that with Orange Sky as an organization too, we're really, what can we do now to help? Homelessness is a huge epidemic around not only Australia, but all over the world. But being able to really help now really drew me to Orange Sky. And I love being able to give back as much as I can.
Mm. And Shayne, what about for you? You're coming live from Brisbane. Why do you engage in this area of work in our society?
Yeah, and I think Emma summed it up really well. Like, I think for complex issues like homelessness and hardship, I'm a big believer in everyone sort of playing their part. So I think that's whether people feel like they're in a spot to be able to volunteer, whether that's donating money, whether that's just learning a bit more about homelessness and and how close it really is for people. Like, I really encourage everyone to just sort of go to our website, orangesky.org.au, and find out their own way to play their part in helping such a big issue. And for me, it's through the work I do every day. So I used to work in consulting and in banking. So I don't know if this is just to clear my conscience of guilty things of the past. But for me, I just love being able to make a real difference in the community, to work with some amazing people, to be able to connect with all these people who are in tough times and be able to enjoy what you do, 5 days a week. It's such a huge part of your life. So yeah, for me, it's really just about being able to make a difference and be able to connect with the community.
Orange Sky, it's a remarkable organisation and it's been going for 10 years now, nearly. And it's certainly served those in need and the marginalised and homeless in our community for all of those years. And I'm sure it's had a remarkable impact. Thank you, Shayne, and thank you, Emma.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you so much.